All right, let's dive in and install the Service and Support Dashboards App Exchange app. And this is provided by Salesforce Labs. I'll provide a link to this in the resources section of this lecture. But if you just go to App Exchange from Setup, you can see it here in the background. Just search for App Exchange, and then you can search for Service and Support, and you'll be able to find this Service and Support Dashboards app. The reason that we're doing this is because we need to be able to measure contact center metrics. And one of the things in the exam guide related to industry knowledge is that we need to be able to be familiar with contact center metrics and contact center KPIs. And so I thought the best way to do this would be to visualize this by downloading an app and talking about some of the contact center metrics in this lecture, and then we'll talk about KPIs in the next. So you've got to allow App Exchange access to your free developer account by logging in and clicking Allow. And you're probably familiar with installing apps off the App Exchange by this point if you already have your admin certification or if you have much experience. It brings you back to this screen here to where you can either install in this org or in a sandbox. For some reason, it's saying that Salesforce Inc. is not the provider of this listing. I guess Salesforce Labs is something different. I believe Salesforce Labs is an official entity involved with Salesforce themselves, but since this is just a free developer account, we're not going to worry about this warning, and we're going to say install here. And this would be in our free developer account. And then you confirm that you've read the terms and conditions and then click confirm and install. All right, so we're just going to leave this for admins only. You can instead install for other profiles or users if you wish. And then if there's any existing naming conflicts, I'm not going to install the package. So I'm going to click install. And so we can view the components while we wait for that to install. I always like to do this to get an idea as to what to look for once this is in place. And so there's a lot of reports and dashboards, as you can tell, and it looks like a lot of them are named like APX, etc. So I'll look for those later on once we get this installed. And then as well, here's the report folder that we will want to look for. It's called App Exchange Service and Support DB. I'm going to close this out, and then installation is complete. So some of the contact center metrics that we're going to discuss we'll see pop up, or we should at least, in our different reports and dashboards in that folder. So let me go to the reports folder. I click the app launcher, which is this 3x3 squares here. That brings up the app launcher. I'm going to click on reports. And then under folders created by me, we have the App Exchange Service and Support DB folder because I just installed that. So if we go into that folder, this will give us all the different reports that are installed with this app. And so you'll see by looking at the description of these particular reports that are provided that a lot of these are time-based and measure things such as what is the average time for all cases by stage for the current fiscal year. And you can see trend analysis as well as far as how many cases were opened each month, for example. You can even see some typos such as monthly trending instead of monthly trending right here as well, but that's okay. So some of these contact center metrics that are typically measured in a Service Cloud instance would be things such as average hold time or average call length, first contact resolution. That would have to do with one and done as far as whenever you are dealing with a customer, you want to resolve their situation in their first contact and not require them to follow up. And then as well, here's one for the average handle time of all cases per rep for the current. Let's just look at this one. And that's one contact center metric that will appear on the exam probably, is the average handle time, or AHT. This is the time spent interacting with a customer to solve an inquiry. So you can see the total number of records, the duration average, and this is just things that are out of the box from that report. So if I go back, so what we're going to do is be sure and check the resources section of this lecture for not only a link to this app off the App Exchange for all these different service and support reports and dashboards, but also I will include as well a downloadable copy of some contact center metrics that you can get familiar with. This will be like a glossary of terms because you need to be familiar with the meaning of these terms because some of them will appear on the exam. Not that you have to memorize every single word, but we will also be looking at these reports and dashboards later on in the analytics section of this course, but I wanted to show you briefly as well some of the dashboards that were created. And for example, this bottom one here is a dashboard with components tracking individual call center representative performance. And so these will really dive into the contact center metrics and also the contact center KPIs. And in the next lecture, we're going to talk about KPIs, what those are, and how those are measured.